We all know the story of Noah, his ark, and the Great Flood, but some stories about the famous biblical figure are a little less known, like his penchant for getting absolutely wasted. Like so many prominent figures in the Bible, Noah only comes into his own story when he's a grown man. The first mention of him is in Genesis 5:28. He's 500 years old by the time he has children of his own who are grown and married when God commands Noah to build his ark. Besides the fact that he kept faith with God, there's nothing said about Noah's life or character. For those details, we have to go to the Book of Enoch, an ancient text that isn't part of the traditional Christian or Jewish canon. Chapter 106 paints Noah's birth in near miraculous terms. He comes into the world with white hair, eyes that blaze like the sun, and a body that is snow white and rose red. What's more, the infant Noah immediately begins talking to God. The same story appears in Louis Ginzberg's Legends of the Jews, a compilation of stories pulled from rabbinic literature. There, Noah's appearance frightens his father Lamech, who has to be reassured by his own father Methuselah. Methuselah becomes the only man to speak Noah's name as the boy grows up, for fear that sorcery might ensnare him if his true name were widely known. To the outside world, Noah is known as Menahem, or Comforter. To be born with an unusual appearance and an immediate rapport with God himself should be miraculous enough for anyone. The fact that Noah was also born circumcised seems pretty incidental. But that trait is given greater weight in Enoch, as it's a sign that Noah is the one to fulfill a prophecy dating back to the time of Adam. Before Adam and Eve fled the Garden of Eden, God told Adam, "Cursed is the ground for thy sake." Per Legends of the Jews, when Adam asked how long the curse would endure, God replied, "Until a man-child shall be born whose conformation is such that the rite of circumcision need not be practiced upon him." The curse of Adam showed up before Noah's birth through the transfiguration of crops. Farmers who planted wheat would get oats for their trouble, and in the ancient world, oats were regarded as a lesser grain, used by livestock and peasants. Farmers worked their unreliable fields with their bare hands and contended with uncooperative livestock. But after Noah's birth, sown wheat grew true and livestock obeyed their master's commands. And when he became an adult, Noah reportedly invented all the basic tools of the farmer's trade: the scythe, the plow, and the hoe. In Genesis, God's decision to wipe the earth clean of life is made quickly and resolutely. Only Noah and his family find favor in God's eyes, and they alone are given any chance at salvation.
Oh, and you might need this.
But Jewish tradition and rabbinical literature expanded considerably on this decision and the role Noah played in it. This tradition has God inclined toward mercy, with Noah as the messenger of God's choices for humanity. In this telling, Noah is given 120 years to proselytize the people, leading them to abandon their wickedness. All the while, however, Noah continues to build the ark, guided by angels. The flood in this version of the story is a potential disaster, one that could be averted if the people listened to Noah. Alas, no one takes the warning seriously. They mock Noah's message and his work on the ark. More than that, they claim they know how to protect themselves against any sort of flood God can send against them. Popular accounts of Noah and the flood focus on the big picture, the destruction of the earth and the new covenant with God once the waters recede.
Get on the ark! Everyone on the ark now!
But those accounts tend not to mention Genesis 9:20, the part of the story where Noah plants a vineyard, makes wine, and gets wasted. He gets so drunk, in fact, that he lies naked outside his tent and has to be covered by two of his sons. When he recovers, he curses his grandson Canaan. While the nature of Noah's curse is a lingering theological question, Noah's drunkenness became a surprisingly popular subject for artists, but it's triggered theological debates of its own. The drunkenness of Noah is a strange and brief episode in the aftermath of the Great Flood, and it seems to be at odds with the idea of Noah as the one righteous man left in the world. The Book of Enoch is named for Noah's great-grandfather, one of only 3 people supposed to have been taken up to heaven in both body and soul. Enoch loomed large in the early Jewish and Christian communities. He's the subject and the attributed author of numerous works. But his general fame and the notoriety of the Book of Enoch weren't enough to earn it a place in the canon of either Judaism or Christianity, with the exception of the Ethiopian and Eritrean Orthodox churches. But just as the Bible is thought of as a library rather than a book, the Book of Enoch is more a collection rather than a single volume. And contained within that collection are fragments of Enoch from the Book of Noah. This book was quoted in numerous non-canonical religious texts. It apparently held stories about Noah and his descendants learning the art of medicine from the angels, as well as instructions for conducting sacrifices. It's widely believed that sections of the Book of Enoch are directly taken from the Book of Noah. Unfortunately, such quotes and fragments are all we have of the Book of Noah. While there is good evidence that a book or books attributed to Noah existed, according to the lost Apocrypha of the Old Testament, those source texts for the fragments quoted in Enoch and elsewhere have been lost.